Hello and welcome to Kolam Podu. I am Bhargavi Mani. So if you're new to this channel or this is the first time you've heard of us, here's a little something you need to know. Kolam Podu is a happy project. It aims to revive and demystify this wonderful South Indian traditional art form, which is more than just floor art. We're doing a series of videos which basically addresses the many questions people have around kolam. In this particular video, I'm going to be discussing how do you use the rag cloth on the wet flour to be able to release the earays or the lines for you to get beautiful kolam patterns. Before we get any further, let me just remind you to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for regular updates. This information will surely help any kolam enthusiast, and trust me, nobody is an exception. So before I get into showing you what needs to be done, why don't we first break down this task and understand how many coordinations happen for us to be able to get a beautiful kolam using this particular technique. Now, for the wet Kolam Maavu earray technique, your hand and finger strength is very important. Your coordination between the eye and the hand, the mind and the hand, your attention, your concentration, your focus, thereby your shoulder strength, midline crossing are very few of the benefits that you are going to gain by drawing kolam in this particular technique. Now for this, like I showed in the previous video where I taught you how to make the wet Kolam Maavu base, I've taken the rag and this is what you do. You prepare the rag, you get this ready, and let's start. Okay, so for this technique, you have dipped your rag cloth, it's absorbed all the liquid. You have to wait for it to stop dripping, else while you're drawing it, it's going to get messier. In this style, it will get a little messy, and that's part of the beauty, so accept it. So what happens is you hold the rag with your four fingers, which is your forefinger, your middle finger, your ring finger and your little finger. Your forefinger and your little finger kind of put pressure from the sides, and you use the middle finger and the ring finger as your paint brushes or your nibs in this case, and you use your thumb to release how much liquid goes in. The pressure for the release comes from your thumb, and the second line of release comes from your side fingers, okay? So now, is there only one way to draw the earray? Not really. Let me show you how I learned to draw the Maa Kolam or the earray kolam from when I was a kid. So here we go. There, I'm slowly releasing it. So if you notice in this particular technique, it's a little thicker here, it's thinner there, it's acceptable, and the rhythm that you see in this curve or the zigzags that we draw, that zigzag rhythm says a lot about how mindful you have been when you draw this particular technique. I mean, I've seen some women who have drawn these absolutely perfect zigzags. I'm okay, I'm not the best at it, but I'm okay. But always in this particular technique, initially, because you're pressing it, the squeeze will be a little more than towards the end. You could dilute your wet flour a little more, but I choose not to. I like this particular consistency. Now, another way they use, another way they draw the earray kolams is lines. Now, if I were to draw a pattern, let me show you. Let me draw a lotus. Lotus is probably one of the most drawn pattern. You tend to use the ring finger for this. Now you see all these drops falling in, right? That's part of the beauty. There are some people who can control these better than others. Obviously, I'm not the best at it. But what I do is I wait for it to dry and then I will take them off because it doesn't leave a mark at that point of time. If you notice, I'm using my ring finger for this. This is just one technique. The other technique that I've grown up doing is this. So if you notice, I'm using the ring finger and my nail will invariably get jacked in the process. Drawing of the Maa Kolam and this Ezhai technique is not easy. It comes with a lot of practice, and we tend to have taken it for granted because we've seen our grandmothers growing up doing this, right? To do this, like I said, you break down the tasks, you realize how much coordination, how much focus and attention is required for you to be able to see a beautiful kolam. So the next time you see a Maa Kolam when you're just passing by, stand there and appreciate that design because a lot of effort has gone into it. So now observe how I draw the zigzag Ezhai using the wet Kolam Maavu closely. Not only do my lines have to be parallel, they also have to flow consistently. The zigzag pattern also needs to be consistent, and the release of the flower also has to be consistent. Now, while drawing a straight line, again parallel lines, I am using the same middle finger and ring finger, using the thumb to release, using my forefinger and the little finger as second releases to release and pull at the same time. Now, in this, you need to also take into account that I will need to calculate how quickly my hand needs to move consistently so that it doesn't blotch anywhere. While drawing any forms, now in this case I'm attempting a smaller lotus because I want you to see how I use the little finger. There will be little droplets that fall from time to time, but that's okay. As I said, that's part of it. Now this dropping also has to do with how much water or how dilute your maavu is. We will create a video separately to discuss what is the right consistency. But for now, see how I am using my ring finger as the paintbrush or the nib, and automatically how my other fingers take position to make sure that the liquid only goes to the ring finger's tip to create the magic. With columns, like any other art, it's all about these little details. If you found this content useful, if you think it added value to you, please be generous and press the like button and leave us a comment. Feedback is always very encouraging. Let me again remind you to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for regular updates. We are constantly coming up with interesting videos that's going to add value to any kolam enthusiast. So whether it is for you or for somebody else that might benefit from this, it's a good thing to do. We're present on multiple social media platforms. Here are the details. However, I'm most active on Instagram and on YouTube. So if you want to reach out to me, you could either leave a comment on our YouTube channel or leave me a message on Instagram. I'm always just one message away. You know, I'm reminded of a Bob Dylan famous quote. If she's amazing, she won't be easy. If she's easy, she will not be amazing. If she is worth it, you will not give up. And if you give up, you're not worth it. Well, the last line, we shall not get into it, but columns are worth it and they're amazing. So all this effort is worth your time, worth your effort, and believe me, it's only going to leave you happier. Life is beautiful, even if you get your hands dirty, if you choose for it to be. So until I see you next, Kolam Podu.